Hello, polymaths. Welcome back to another episode where curiosity meets mastery. Today we're diving into one of the most powerful and misunderstood skills in business, the art of selling. We're exploring the new model of selling and answering a big question. Why do most people struggle with sales while only a few seem to thrive effortlessly? Let's break it down.
You know that feeling when your go-to sales tactics just aren't landing anymore?
Oh, definitely. Like the playbook's suddenly out of date.
It's like the rule book you've been following suddenly became obsolete. Brendan Kane nailed it, didn't he? He said customers have fundamentally stopped behaving or buying like they used to.
Yeah, and Kelly Sullivan added that those analog methods, they're just finished in this digital world.
Makes you wonder what the new game is, right?
It absolutely does. The speed of change has been, well, incredible. And sticking to old ways. It's like using an old map in a city that's completely changed.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today on the deep dive. We're tackling the new model of selling, an approach that really rethinks how we influence and persuade. Ryan Serhant thinks this model demystifies and simplifies influence for anyone dealing with humans day to day.
And honestly, that sounds like something we could all use.
It's a bit of fundamental shift, isn't it? Instead of like those well-worn tactics.
Right. The focus becomes understanding the other person's challenges, guiding them, really.
Precisely. Casey Watkins talks about uncovering nuggets of information that they didn't even know were there.
That's the real power, isn't it?
Yeah.
Helping them persuade themselves, not just pushing a sale.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's great about this new model, I think, is it's grounded in, behavioral science, but also real experience.
All right, the author moved away from that traditional guru advice.
Yeah, it highlights the need for something more evidence-based,
Okay, so let's really dig into the foundation here. Chapter 1 of the new model of selling lays out the problem with traditional sales. We're talking about those old standbys, the greatest hits, like the assumptive sale, the infamous always be closing.
ABC.
Oh, yeah, ABC.
Yeah, right.
Felt found, trial closes.
Demonstration closes, being relentless, chasing the sale, being overly enthusiastic.
Accepting rejection as normal, and that whole it's a numbers game idea. What's
Yeah.
the core issue with all that?
Well, these techniques often ran on pressure, right? And just sheer volume.
Yeah, the idea was just keep pushing, push past objections, play the numbers, rejection, just part of it. Think about always be closing. It implies constant pressure, doesn't it? Whether they're ready or not.
And today, that pressure cooker thing, it seems to backfire a lot.
The book emphasizes people often haven't even fully realized their own problems or the urgency.
So coming in hard with that close,
Yeah.
it can be jarring. Why is that?
Well, people just resist being told what their problems are, don't they? Or being forced into a solution.
Yeah, totally.
So the new model flips this. It emphasizes skillful questioning.
Right. Instead of telling them, you guide them to discover their pain points.
It gives them ownership, right, over
Yeah.
the problem and motivates them to solve it.
It's about them having the aha moment, not you telling them.
That makes sense. So rather than just trying to be liked, the book mentions John Maxwell but offers a different take.
Yeah, the real focus shifts to building trust.
But it's not just being agreeable, right? It's trust through expertise, through understanding them, which
Oh,
comes
right.
from...
Those questions, insightful questions.
Exactly. Likability helps, sure, but trust is the bedrock.
It's proving you're competent, that you're focused on their needs, not just the transaction.
Those qualities show you're a partner who actually cares about their specific situation.
Right. And what about rejection? Traditional sales almost wore it like a badge of honor.
Yeah, but the new model suggests maybe we're causing some of that rejection by how we communicate.
There's that interesting Carl Jung quote about withdrawing projection. Can you unpack that a bit here?
Sure. So Jung's idea is we might project our own unconscious stuff like fears onto others.
Okay.
So in sales, if you're afraid of missing targets, maybe you project that anxiety. You see hesitation as rejection.
Ah, okay. And that makes you react defensively or too aggressively.
Exactly. Which ironically makes rejection more likely. The new model says look inward first. Make sure you're not creating the resistance.
So it's about telling the difference between a genuine bad fit.
And rejection that maybe we triggered ourselves.
And the optimistic part is master these new techniques and you can actually cut down rejection significantly.
It's not just inevitable anymore.
Precisely. It's about refining communication, connecting, right, minimizing that friction. Starts from hello, basically.
Which leads to that really eye-opening point.
Yeah.
The sale is lost at the beginning, sometimes right at hello.
The Shelley Levine cold call example really shows that. That classic company-focused pitch just puts people off.
The book talks about these mental shortcuts, these schemas. What are those in this context?
Schemas are like mental frameworks, patterns we use to process info quickly.
Okay.
So when a prospect gets a cold call that jumps right into a pitch, it triggers their salesperson schema.
So all the baggage from past bad experiences.
Exactly. Defenses go up. They label you just another pushy salesperson before you even get a chance to show value.
Okay, let's move to chapter 2 then. Building rapport and trust.
Right.
Given how fast people judge, that 8-second attention span thing is kind of scary.
It really is.
The book says personalization in that intro is absolutely crucial. Why doesn't a generic opening work anymore?
Because everyone's bombarded with messages, right?
Yeah.
Information overload. Yeah. A generic company-focused pitch. It just gets lost in the noise. Prospects are thinking, what's in it for me?
If you don't answer that fast, or at least make them curious.
They tune out that 8 seconds. It shows how urgent it is to make that connection relevant quick.
There's that great example, the salesperson calling a doctor's office just launches into a monologue about their company's drug.
All we and are doesn't even acknowledge the gatekeeper or what the doctor might actually care about.
What's the main takeaway from that bad example?
It just shows the huge flaw in being self-centered. The salesperson's only thinking about their agenda pushing their product.
Not the other person's world.
No understanding, no courtesy. It's like Michael Porter said, you need to be different at what you do, not just claim you're better.
And that company-centric opening makes you sound just like, well, everyone else.
Exactly.
Now, shifting to B2B, the book really stresses relationship building is a long game. Takes time, patience. Aristotle's quote about friendships growing slowly. Why is that long view so vital in B2B?
Well, B2B sales often involve more people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Complex decisions, bigger investments. So trust and credibility, you have to earn those over time. Consistent value, genuine relationship building. You can't rush it.
It's more like nurturing something.
Yeah, like planting seeds, cultivating a relationship that pays off down the line.
And a point that often gets missed, the gatekeeper. The book says don't overlook them. Build trust with them, too.
It taps into that basic human need, right? To feel important, needed. How can taking that approach help?
Well, showing genuine interest in the gatekeepers, their role, their challenges, just appreciating their help, it humanizes things.
Yeah, they're not just an obstacle.
No. They're the first contact, often have real influence. Making them feel valued can open doors, give you insights.
It's just respect, really.
Yeah.
But it can pay off big time.
The book lays out 3 truths of a valuable business relationship: access, influence, and helping the other person succeed, that mitzvah idea. How do those fit together?
They kind of feed each other, don't they? Build rapport, you get access.
Right. To people, information.
That access helps you understand their needs better, so you can actually help them succeed.
And when you help them succeed,
your influence grows naturally, which strengthens the relationship, gives you even more access later. It's a cycle.
A mutually beneficial partnership, both sides invested.
Exactly.
There's that story about Jerry's rep and the LA Dodgers tickets for the gatekeepers.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't about the product at first, just making a human connection. What's that show us?
It just shows that real rapport often starts with common ground, showing genuine interest in them, not just your own goals.
The rep wasn't forcing a pitch.
No, they were building a connection. Acknowledging the gatekeepers as a person with interest. That small thing, that shared interest, made them feel seen, valued, more receptive later.
It's about humanizing it, not treating everyone like just a potential sale number.
Right.
Okay, chapter 3 moves to disarming the prospect. It paints that picture. Prospect gets a cold call, feels interrupted, defenses shoot up.
Yeah, the standard reaction.
So the main goal here, sound different right away. Why is breaking that predictable pattern so vital?
Because of those schemas we mentioned.
Yeah.
Prospects expect a certain script from salespeople. That predictable pitch triggers defenses instantly. But if you sound different, don't launch into a spiel.
You disrupt their expectation, pique their curiosity.
Exactly. You create a moment where they might actually listen because you don't fit the usual mold.
The book contrasts the average salesperson like P.T. Barnum with the new model salesperson. Totally different openings.
Barnum's style is that immediate, maybe exaggerated pitch, throwing stuff out there hoping something sticks. What's wrong with that?
It's just completely self-focused, isn't it? All about what the salesperson wants to say.
Yeah, not the prospect's needs or problems. Comes across as pushy, puts them on guard immediately.
No attempt to build rapport, understand their situation, just broadcasting info.
Treats them like a target, not a person.
Now, the new model approach is interesting. It's about seeking help. Like, could you possibly help me out for a moment? And focusing on potential hidden gaps or issues. It leads with curiosity, not a hard sell. What's the psychological effect there?
It's disarming. Asking for help positions you differently. Not pushy, but someone seeking understanding.
Taps into that human desire to help.
Yeah. And focusing on hidden gaps. It makes them curious. Makes them wonder, am I missing something?
Frames it around discovery, potential value, not a sales pitch, so it lowers resistance.
Exactly.
So right from the start, you're positioning yourself as a problem finder and solver, not just a product pusher.
It's a huge difference in perception. You're signaling your intent is to understand, see if you can genuinely help.
And since prospects often haven't really pinpointed their own underlying problems,
This disarming approach is crucial. It's the first step to peeling back those layers, bringing issues to light.
creates a space where they can consider things they might not have otherwise.
It's about psychological safety, making them feel comfortable exploring potential issues without feeling judged or pressured. The opening sets that stage.
Okay, Chapter 4 introduces a really fascinating idea, the power of detachment. This isn't about being careless, but letting go of needing to make this specific sale.
Right, and focusing instead on whether a sale even makes sense in the first place. What's the benefit of that?
Well, that detachment lets you be truly customer-centric. If your main goal isn't just closing this deal,
You're freer.
Yeah.
You have more authentic conversations. Explore things.
you become less attached to one outcome, more focused on understanding them. Is your thing really the best fit?
And that objectivity builds more trust, ultimately.
The book uses that analogy of being a sales lift or Uber. You're guiding buyers to discover their needs, not driving them to your solution.
Yeah, I like that one.
It emphasizes challenging their thinking with questions, not telling them they're wrong. How does that guiding approach work?
Instead of just presenting your solution as the answer, you use questions, help them articulate their situation, their pain points, their goals.
So they discover it themselves.
Exactly. You guide them through self-discovery. They reach their own conclusions about needing change, about your value. It's facilitating their journey.
And when they identify the problem and solution themselves, the buy-in is much stronger.
Much stronger.
And to minimize our own bias, make sure we're really serving the customer.
The book suggests either long-term trust building through actions or this disarming approach where the client feels in control.
Like the Jungle Cruise analogy, what's the core idea behind keeping that feeling of control for the prospect?
Feeling in control is just huge for trust. Reduces resistance.
Yeah, if they feel pressured or manipulated.
They get defensive, naturally.
Yeah.
The disarming approach puts them at ease, makes them feel like they're steering.
The Jungle Cruise guide knows the way, but the passengers feel involved.
Right. It feels more engaging, less threatening. When they feel part of it, have some say.
Ultimately, the book stresses the buyer decides, based on their own belief in what you're saying.
And Jerry's core belief. What the prospect says is way more important than what the salesperson says. Why is their own voice so powerful?
Because people believe themselves more, right? They act on conclusions they draw themselves.
When a prospect says their needs, challenges, solutions out loud, they're doing internal validation.
Their words just carry more weight for them.
Your role is just to create the space, ask the right questions to make that happen.
So even when you share data, it's not just a data dump.
No. The crucial follow-up is asking them what they think about it, how it might help their situation.
Initiating dialogue, not monologue.
Exactly. Engaging them makes the info stick. Shows you value their view, not just force-feeding data. It becomes collaborative.
And the big difference between traditional telling and the new model
Is getting the customer to say what they think and believe.
The book says if there's alignment, that synchronicity, they'll buy. But it feels like their decision, not pressured.
It's a natural convergence. When their needs and your solution click in their own mind, moving forward is logical, not forced. Ownership is key. Reduces buyer's remorse too.
And to get that open sharing, you absolutely have to seem neutral, unbiased.
Yeah, if they sense a hidden agenda or you're just pushing your solution,
They clam up.
that neutrality creates safety, trust. For open dialogue, they need to feel you're genuinely interested in them, no strings attached.
Chapter 5 shifts to using the power of your voice. Julian Treasurer's quote, "The most powerful sound in the world Sets the stage nicely.
It really does. It's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Effective communication is more than just words. Our voice tone, pace, inflection hugely impacts how the message lands, builds connection, or pushes away.
Yeah, you might have great stuff to say, but how you say it matters.
It mentions Chris Voss's playful voice, the accommodator's voice.
Yeah.
Likeable, charming, relaxed, not firm, assertive.
Right. The key is avoiding making prospects feel cornered, held hostage.
That playful voice builds rapport, trust, signals you're approachable, empathetic, not aggressive.
Avoiding that overly assertive tone is crucial. Disarms them, creates comfort.
The chapter also talks about slowing down your speech, using pauses, managing your tone.
To be different from that fast-talking stereotype.
The goal is sound thoughtful, genuine, definitely not robotic or like you're reading a script.
That deliberate pace, that thoughtful tone, it conveys confidence, sincerity.
Shows you're present, listening, not just rushing through talking points. Lets the message land better, makes you sound trustworthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, chapter 6 dives into the art of listening. Starts with how surprise, mystery, curiosity grab attention. Heath Brothers' break a pattern idea.
Right. Think outside the box, but no gimmicks.
Breaking that predictable sales pattern is key today. You need to be memorable, engaging for the right reasons, genuine curiosity, value, not tricks.
And it criticizes that machine gun approach. Salespeople cramming tons of info into short bursts.
Yeah, that doesn't build connection, does it?
No, it just overwhelms people. Signals you just want to talk at them, not with them.
It contrasts the old telling and persuading, usually self-focused.
With the new model, asking questions, really listening. That old ADA model, forced chit-chat, feels fake now.
Yeah, buyers today are smarter, more skeptical. They value real connection, not superficial stuff.
The chapter makes a huge statement. Listening is a mode of selling.
To get top results, you have to switch off that urge to just talk features and benefits. Prioritize listening.
Active listening isn't passive. It's a powerful tool. Uncovers needs, builds trust, guides the prospect. You can't understand them if you're just waiting to talk.
Which leads to open listening. Listening without judging, total focus on them, setting aside your agenda.
Linda Richardson's quote emphasizes being fully present to really get it. What are the key parts of open listening?
It's consciously silencing your inner voice, suspending judgment, really trying to get their perspective, words, tone, emotion.
Being fully present, receptive, not planning your reply or steering things your way. Genuine curiosity, wanting to understand their world.
Then there's the Peter, Paul, and Mary of CEOdom. Listening for clues, essence, and opportunities.
Okay, let's break those down. Clues, subtle hints, phrases indicating what they really want or need, often unspoken.
Yeah, like being a detective, paying attention to nuances, hesitations, implied needs, reading between the lines. Like in personal relationships, you pick up unspoken cues.
Got it. Then essence, the core of their problem, what's really important to them.
Like the doctor worried about patient compliance. It's not just the drug, it's the outcome. Patients taking it.
So digging below the surface, request to find the real motivations, the core challenges. What's the ultimate goal, the real obstacles?
Exactly. And opportunities, avenues for connection, things they say or you observe.
Like a shared interest, an award on the wall. How do we use those?
They're points of common ground. Build stronger rapport, deepen connection. Show you see them as a person, not just a prospect. Humanizes things, builds a stronger foundation.
Makes sense. The chapter also warns against debating or yes, but responses.
Right. Arguing rarely changes minds, just damages rapport. Why is validation so key, even if you disagree?
Validation shows you heard them, understood their view, makes them feel acknowledged.
Even if you see it differently, starting with empathy, acknowledging their feelings.
Creates more receptive space for discussion. Arguing just puts up walls, shuts down communication.
Another key point. Accept what they say without judging or inserting your interpretation.
The stoplight analogy.
Yeah.
Red for judge, yellow for pause, green for understand. Great visual.
And don't say, I know how you feel. Ask, how did that make you feel? Builds real empathy.
Yeah, your interpretation might be wrong anyway. Makes them feel misunderstood. Asking about their feelings shows you care, lets them express it their way. Deeper connection.
So the salesperson's role in open listening is guide, helping the customer discover their own solution.
Empowering them to reach their own conclusions.
Exactly. You're not dictating the answer. You're helping them navigate their challenges, find the best fit for them. Their discovery is way more powerful than your pitch.
Definitely.
Chapter 7 moves to the sequence of questions. Salkin Shah quotes, Emphasize asking the right questions in the right order.
Questions unlock answers.
Right.
But it's not random, right?
Absolutely not. It's strategic. Like a detective, you need a logical flow. Uncover info, guide the conversation effectively.
Random or bad questions can confuse, or worse, push them away.
Even great communicators need a questioning strategy. Skip the weird icebreakers, focus on logic.
And with short attention spans, capturing interest fast is crucial. Physical presence doesn't mean mental engagement.
That initial mental access is critical. If you don't grab them, make it relevant fast.
You lose them before you even start exploring needs. Need to show value early.
The chapter introduces the 3 C's for effective questions: clarity, content, condition, and control.
Okay, clarity, knowing exactly what you want to know. No ambiguity. Why is precision key?
Because vague questions get vague answers. Being clear means they understand, give you specific info you need, saves time, avoids confusion.
Makes sense. Condition, considering how the question will land. Like the comedian testing jokes.
Yeah, asking yourself, how would I feel getting this question?
Anticipating the impact. Intrusive. Defensive. Considering their view helps you phrase it better. Get honest answers, not resistance.
And control means guiding the conversation without making them feel interrogated, or like they lost agency.
It's a balance. Leading, but letting it flow naturally.
You steer towards needs and solutions, but they should feel like active participants, their opinions valued, like a collaborative exploration, not an interrogation.
Got it.
The real power comes when prospects hear themselves answer your questions. That internal processing leads to ownership of the problem, can even challenge their old beliefs.
Why is their own articulation so powerful?
Because verbalizing challenges, desired outcomes, it's self-persuasion. Their own words carry more weight than yours ever could.
Solidifies their understanding of the problem. Increases motivation to solve it. It's their aha moment, sparked by your questions.
The book gives examples of internal questions prospects might ask themselves, due to your insightful questions like, why do I keep doing this?
That internal dialogue is where change starts. Your questions are the catalyst, prompting them to examine things, consider new possibilities.
And this whole questioning process works with human psychology, not against it.
Right.
The chapter ends stressing 3 keys to sales success: your definition of sales, your word choice, and maybe most critical,
What you're not asking. That silence can be telling.
that's huge. Often the best insights come from the unasked questions, the deeper ones, maybe uncomfortable ones, uncovering the real underlying needs.
It's having the courage to go beyond the surface.
Okay, chapter 8 gets into connecting questions. These are the opening questions. Create a good first impression, emotional connection right away.
Different from those direct, maybe off-putting questions from older sales styles.
Connecting questions build immediate rapport. Show empathy before diving into business. Humanizes the start. Signals you see them as a person, not a deal.
The book contrasts abrupt insurance questions with more empathetic ones. The doctor's office example. Checking if it's a good time. Framing it as offering help. Why is that better?
Shows respect for their time. Acknowledges they might be busy. Offering help positions you as an ally, not an interruption. Lowers defenses, makes them more receptive.
Then it moves to situation questions. Finding common ground by exploring their interests, current challenges.
Asking these empowers the salesperson, gives valuable context. Builds confidence, reduces anxiety. How do they do that?
By focusing the start on their world goals, situation, pain points, you shift focus from your own selling anxiety.
Lets you genuinely understand their needs before thinking solutions.
That understanding builds your confidence you're working from knowledge. Reduces anxiety, you're starting on their terms, building common ground.
These situation questions also set you up to know what to listen for and when, how to introduce your solution so it feels relevant.
The chapter gives examples tailored to different scenarios. General outreach, retired prospect, high net worth financial services. Why tailor them?
Tailoring shows you did homework, genuinely interested in their unique situation. Not one size fits all, shows you're thoughtful, makes it more relevant, engaging from the get-go.
Makes perfect sense.
Chapter 9 digs into engagement questions. Alice S. A. Pope's quote about engaging prospects as individuals fits perfectly.
Yeah, this is the heart of the new model, right? Where the sale is really made 85% of the process. Why so critical?
Because this is where you build that deep understanding and trust. Essential for connection, for them recognizing your value, moving beyond surface info, really getting their underlying needs, motivations, challenges personally.
They're buying you as much as the solution.
A key technique, turning statements into questions. opens them up to ideas, navigates concerns gently. But it's not uptalk, right?
No, definitely not uncertain.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of framing insights as questions?
It encourages them to think critically, consider your view without feeling told what to believe, invites dialogue, lets them reach their own conclusions, always more powerful.
It's a subtle way to guide thinking, address objections without direct confrontation.
The book gives examples. What if? What do you think about if you could?
Yeah.
Prompts internal examination of their beliefs.
And shows internal questions prospects might ask themselves based on these engagement questions. Life insurance, investments. How does that internal questioning help?
It sparks introspection, helps them see the gap between current situation and desired future. Thinking about outcomes, possibilities, helps them uncover their own needs, recognize your potential value in bridging that gap, leading them to their own aha moments.
Right.
It also offers strategies for that common, I like my current provider response.
Oh, yes, that one.
Instead of challenging them directly, use insightful questions about potential future changes or their original selection criteria. Why the indirect route?
Challenging their provider directly puts them on defense, reinforces their choice. Asking open-ended questions about the future or why they chose them initially encourages reevaluation. Does the current solution still fit evolving needs? Less confrontational, more thought-provoking, introduces possibility of change gently.
And clarifying questions like, can I ask why you said that? Crucial for digging deeper than surface answers.
New model salespeople aren't happy with superficial stuff. They want hidden layers. Why is that deep dive vital?
Because initial answers are often just the tip of the iceberg. Real needs, concerns, motivations are deeper. Clarifying questions show real curiosity, desire to truly understand.
And that deeper understanding lets you tailor the solution better. Build a stronger, trusting relationship.
The hotel operations example nails it. Understanding unspoken pressure through questioning leads to a sale, even with similar competitors. It's about addressing those deeper, unarticulated needs driving decisions.
Exactly. Going beyond obvious features benefits to uncover underlying emotional drivers, unspoken challenges influencing choices. Addressing those deeper needs makes your solution resonate more profoundly.
Then there's past pacing questions, what have they tried? And future pacing, envisioning positive outcomes of change.
With that gentle, let's pretend vibe, like Mr. Rogers, to ease pressure, how do these time questions help engagement?
Past pacing helps understand their history, experiences. Avoid repeating mistakes, tailor based on what they learned. Future pacing helps them visualize benefits tangibly, makes the value more real, compelling. Let's pretend lowers perceived risk, lets them explore possibilities without feeling cornered.
Qualifying questions are also key. Ask before investing big time or resources.
Right. The travel example, the Atlanta demo request. Need to know if it's a real fit. Agree on next steps if milestones are met. Why qualify early? Good for everyone.
Totally. Ensures you focus time, energy on prospects with real need, real potential to move forward, respectful of both your time and theirs.
Avoids wasting resources on dead ends. Lets you focus where you can add most value.
The chapter ends with a great dialogue example. Weaves consequence, qualifying, transition questions, leads to a presentation perfectly aligned with their stated needs.
And that reminder, don't present too early. The rubber band visual focus on understanding problems first. So practical. Why resist that urge to jump to the presentation?
Because the presentation should answer the problems they've articulated. Present too early. You're guessing what matters. Message falls flat.
Understand their challenges thoroughly first.
Then you tailor the presentation to resonate deeply. Show exactly how you help them get their desired outcomes. Makes it way more impactful, relevant.
Chapter 10, the presentation and handling concerns. Key point. Presentation is maybe only 10% of the new model system.
Right, because it's built on all that questioning.
Yeah.
Knowing what they want, why, how it makes them feel.
If you did the engagement work, the presentation feels less like a pitch.
More like unveiling a personalized solution. Shows you really heard them.
The book outlines Lily Walters' 3-step structure. Pillars of problems, how you solve them, what that means for them.
Aim for 3 or 4 pillars. Either repeating their problems back or maybe introducing related ones they missed.
And always connect the solution back to the emotional impact. Then ask, does that make sense? Checks understanding, agreement. Why is that emotional link so vital?
People decide emotionally, justify logically. Connecting your solution to their desired emotions, less stress, more profit, peace of mind, taps into core motivations. Makes your offer way more compelling. Viscerally.
Then it shifts to understanding concerns, not objections.
First advice, It's not personal. Don't react defensively. Goal is uncover the real meaning behind the concern.
And NEPQ questions neuro-emotional persuasion. Questions can help them prioritize your solution, even find budget. How do they shift the budget talk?
NEPQ taps into emotions, helps them see the value, the urgency of solving the problem. Questions exploring consequences of not acting help them see the true cost of inaction. Can often make them rethink priorities, find budget for something that fixes a big pain point.
The book warns, don't argue, pressure, bully them past concerns.
No. Become a trusted authority. Someone who listens, cares about their worries. Addressing concerns thoughtfully actually reduces their perceived risk. Why is empathy better long-term?
Builds trust, strengthens the relationship, showing you genuinely want to understand and address concerns, not just overcome objections, positions you as a partner, their best interests at heart.
Fosters loyalty, increases chance of a good long-term relationship, even if this sale doesn't happen.
The suppose question is introduced. Great for finding other concerns after addressing the first.
I know it's not resolved now, but let's just pretend we could. Are there any other issues? What makes that hypothetical work?
It removes immediate pressure, lets them consider other concerns without feeling like they're adding roadblocks, opens the door for them to reveal other hesitations they might not have voiced.
And budget concerns. Instead of accepting no budget, ask how they might find funding if they saw the value.
Yeah, the home security, health coaching examples. What's the thinking behind exploring funding options?
Shifts from a definite no to exploring possibilities. If they truly see the value, the urgency, they might reallocate resources, find creative ways, helps gauge their commitment, explore solutions together, not just accept the constraint.
The chapter ends contrasting the average salesperson's logic trap, what do you want to think about, with the new model's focus on emotions, human behavior.
People buy on emotion. That's where the conversation needs to stay.
Exactly. Logic justifies, but emotion triggers. Focusing on feelings, desires, positive impact is way more likely to lead to commitment than just asking them to think logically.
Right.
Finally, Chapter 11. Closing the sale, or better, the commitment. Core message. If you did the conversation right with the new model, the close feels natural, logical, not a separate pressure tactic.
Commitments should feel like the next logical step. The prospect has basically persuaded themselves.
If you guided them skillfully understanding problems, envisioning benefits, addressing concerns, asking for commitment feels like a natural progression, not an abrupt demand. The book tackles stalls like, send me info, advises pivoting back to understand needs before sending generic stuff.
And I'm too busy. Offers a new model response positioning you as a valued expert with limited time too. What's key to navigating those?
Maintaining control of the conversation, demonstrating your value. Instead of just complying, you re-engage. Reinforce your expertise, help them see the benefit of prioritizing the talk. Respectful, but conveys importance.
Makes sense.
It lists principles for commitments, pre-call planning, easy commitment questions, commitments as natural ends, gauging seriousness.
And explains why traditional pressure closes backfire today, lead to defensiveness or ghosting. Why don't they work well now?
Post-trust era, right. Prospects are skeptical, resist overt pressure. Those tactics feel manipulative, erode trust. People want control. Aggressive closing triggers defense, desire to bail.
Given that trust focus, languaging, being mindful of words, creates a neutral, non-resistant space.
Yeah, the investment example shows subtle word choice matters. Key is new model salespeople stay neutral, client-focused.
Neutral language avoids triggering those sales-resistant schemas. Focusing on their needs, outcomes, not your agenda, creates a comfortable, collaborative space.
The chapter gives practical phrases. Would you be open to? With specific next steps. Low commitment.
Examples for real estate, medical devices too. Gauging feelings, reasoning, and the calendar commitment.
Right. The logical point to schedule next steps once agreements are made, you're seen as a trusted authority. Why is that calendar step important?
Signifies a clear path forward. Mutual agreement on next steps. Getting it scheduled increases follow-through likelihood, moves closer to decision, shows commitment from both sides.
The book repeats. No magic tricks, just detachment from needing the sale now. Laser focus on whether a mutually good deal can happen.
And it warns against phrases like make an informed decision implies pressure.
And finally, accepts reality. Some people just won't buy. It's okay to walk away. Know your goals, have a plan. Why is that self-awareness critical?
Because your time, energy are valuable. Recognizing when an opportunity is unlikely lets you focus on better prospects. It's about being strategic, efficient.
So as we wrap this deep dive into the new model of selling, it's clear this is a big evolution, away from pushy presenting and closing.
Yeah, fundamentally about understanding, truly serving the customer's best interests, like Jerry Acuff said.
It's a shift to a more science-based approach to influence. Behavioral science, self-persuasion, Jeremy Miner's focus on eliminating trigger words that create resistance.
Exactly.
I like that idea. Embrace being an opener of minds, not just a closer of deals. Echoes W. Cobby in Black Panther.
And remember, deliver those questions naturally, like a good actor, Clooney or Johansson, not an interrogation.
Fostering real conversations. Empowering prospects to find their own path. Recognize your value.
Because today, trust is fragile. Salespeople have a responsibility. Communicate effectively, spark positive change, help prospects move beyond a status quo that isn't working for them.
Your role is catalyst for positive transformation in their lives, their businesses.
So we commend your willingness to learn. Apply this new model. It's a journey, continuous growth, but promises more meaning, more sustainable success.
Absolutely.
And if you want to go deeper, definitely check out Jeremy Miner and his team at 7th Level Headquarters. His evidence-based methods, they've helped tons of sales pros get amazing results.
You can find Jeremy and 7th Level HQ at 7thlevelhq.com. All their social links will be in the show notes. Worth exploring if you're serious about mastering this new selling era.
Subscribe to Wisdom Decoded, where powerful theories meet practical wisdom. In this episode, we're decoding the new model of selling,